Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'd like to welcome all of you all again to the second day of the Ramayana seminar. Before we start, we'll offer respects to Valmiki Muni. Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aroya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Gopinam Valmiki Muni Simhasya Kavita Vanicharana Summa Ramagathanadam Komayanti Parangati. So we will continue from where we stopped yesterday. Yesterday we were discussing about the story of Vishwamitra Muni taking Ram and Lakshman from Ayodhya all the way to Siddhashram, where Ram and Lakshman helped Vishwamitra perform the sacrifice very successfully. So the sacrifice of Vishwamitra Muni is completed now. Technically, Vishwamitra Muni is supposed to be taking Ram and Lakshman back to Ayodhya, as he had promised Dasharatha. But Vishwamitra Muni has other plans. Of course, Vishwamitra Muni had not revealed these plans to either Dasharatha or to Ram Lakshman before. So this is coming as a surprise to Ram and Lakshman now. But Vishwamitra Muni is very clever in the way he is putting forward his plans and the way he is expressing it to Ram. He doesn't want Ram to feel it is a whole planned affair. So Vishwamitra Muni, one of the main reasons that he gets Ram Lakshman along with him was to get Ram married to Sita. That was his main agenda. The sacrifice was, like a side agenda. So the side agenda has been achieved, now the main agenda has to be achieved. But Vishwamitra Muni is considering how to tell Ram and Lakshman to travel with him to Mithila. So technically if you see, Ayodhya is in one section, in Uttar Pradesh in India now, and Mithila is in Nepal, very far away, and Siddhashram is somewhere in between. So now for Ram and Lakshman to actually go to Mithila, they have to go away from Ayodhya, totally different direction. So Vishwamitra Muni thought of a very interesting way to convince Ram and Lakshman to go to Ayodhya, to Mithila. So after the whole sacrifice was over, Vishwamitra Muni told Ram and Lakshman that I am going to Mithila with all my people to attend a bow sacrifice. And he said that there is a bow of Lord Shiva kept over there. Would you like to come and see the bow of Lord Shiva? Now, if you want to inspire a youngster to do something out of his way, you should know how to do it. Generally, youngsters are not inspired to do anything out of their way, unless you really inspire them. Like, probably, if you tell somebody, there's a bat of Sachin Tendulkar kept somewhere, or the football played by Pele or something like that, that will inspire them to go anywhere to go and see the thing. Right? So now, for a Kshatriya, youngsters, what is the inspiring thing? Bow of Lord Shiva. So Vishwamitra Muni didn't tell Ram and Lakshman that let us go to Mithila so that I can arrange for a marriage with Sita. That's not inspiring for Ram at this point of time in his life, So he's saying, let us go and see the bow. That's exciting. So Ram and Lakshman immediately agreed to go out of the way to see the bow of Lord Shiva. That's the context in which Ram and Lakshman travel with Vishwamitra Muni towards Mithila. But something interesting happens before they reach Mithila. So Vishwamitra Muni is taking them on the route to Mithila. But suddenly, just before they enter the route to Mithila, there is something that happens which Vishwamitra Muni takes them on a detour. So Ram and Lakshmana are wondering, why is Vishwamitra Muni taking them on a detour over here? So it is explained that Vishwamitra Muni takes them to a dilapidated ashram. It's right in the middle of nowhere. And Ram and Lakshmana are wondering, why are we going into this ashram of all places? We're supposed to go in Mithila. But why is Vishwamitra Muni purposely getting us to this ashram, which is completely a desolated place? At that point of time, Vishwamitra begins to narrate a story. He said, long back, Lord Brahma had created a very beautiful girl, one of the most beautiful girl in the history of creation. And this girl was so beautiful that everyone in the universe wanted to marry her, including Indra. So Lord Brahma, he made a plan, a contest. Who can marry this girl? This girl, her name was Ahalya. And the contest that Brahmaji had arranged was that anybody who can circumambulate the world the fastest, that person gets to marry Ahalya. So all the demigods, all the exalted personalities, they began to immediately set out on this circumambulation of the entire universe. Indra, all of them got on their own, carriers, different carriers, and they set out to win this competition. But interestingly, while all these demigods were going on different vehicles going around the universe, Gautam Rishi, one of the sages, he went around the cow 3 times and then came to Brahma and said, I have done it. Brahmaji said, how did you do it so fast? He said, I went around the cow 3 times. Brahmaji realized that's the universe practically. And then Brahmaji was very impressed with the wisdom of Gautam Rishi, and he got Ahalya married to Gautam Rishi. So wisdom essentially is the application of deeper truths in a way that is practical. So for most people in this world, acquiring knowledge is easy, but understanding how to apply the knowledge in one's life is very difficult. That's the difference between information and wisdom. Knowledge can give you a lot of information, but wisdom is how you apply that information in your life. And that's something that cannot be acquired just by studying. One time, one of our devotees, he was distributing Bhagavad Gita in Bombay. And there was a man who challenged him. He said, how dare you all sell Bhagavad Gita? He said, when Krishna gave Bhagavad Gita to Arjun, he gave it for free. And you all are selling Bhagavad Gita over here. So this devotee gave a very interesting answer. He said, Krishna gave Bhagavad Gita to Arjun in Kurukshetra, and we are selling Bhagavad Gita in Bombay. The 80 rupees is transportation charge. This fellow had to keep quiet and buy the book. So sometimes people are weird, and then to be able to answer them, you can't just answer theoretically. You need to give them some answers that practically convinces them. That's the difference between wisdom and knowledge. So Gautam Rishi took her away, and they began to live together. But Indra could not get Ahalya out of his mind. So one day, Indra, he imitated a cock early in the morning, much earlier than sunrise, and began to crow. So Gautam Rishi got up early in the morning and he thought it's sunrise, and he left for performing morning duties. At that time, Indra disguised himself as Gautam Rishi and he came to Ahalya. So when Ahalya saw Gautam Rishi returning so fast, she knew something is wrong. And she knew that her husband doesn't behave like that. So she realized that this cannot be Gautam Rishi, this has to be Indra only. And somehow or the other, she was flattered by the fact that the king of the heaven is so much infatuated by her. And somehow she succumbed to the temptations, and eventually she realized she made a mistake. But somehow or the other, the mind always has the power to justify. So the intelligence is telling you this is the right thing to do. The mind always tells you a way to get out of that, out of doing the right thing. So Ahalya, after a certain while, she realized that she made a mistake. And then she started telling Indra, you should go away now, otherwise Gautam Rishi will come. So Indra also realized that Gautam Rishi may come anytime. So he started running away. Exactly at that time Gautam Rishi entered. So now there were 2 Gautam Rishis standing in front of each other. There was a duplicate one and there was the original one. And when Gautam Rishi saw Indra disguised as himself, he got really angry on Indra and he cursed Indra that he'll have eyes all over his body. So that's why from that point onwards, Indra started having eyes all over his body. And he cursed Ahalya because she is acting so insensitive towards Gautam Rishi's feelings, towards Gautam Rishi's, situation. So he said, you should become a stone. There's specifically a reason why he chose to give Ahalya this form of a stone. So Gautama Rishi's analysis of Ahalya was that she was too much into attention seeking. And he said, the only way you can get rid of this disease of attention seeking is if you get a form that nobody pays attention to. Nobody pays an attention to a stone. Who looks at a stone? No one. So he said that you become a stone so that two reasons. One is because she acted insensitive like a stone. She was hard-hearted. I mean, she only thought about herself. She never thought from Gautam Rishi's point of view. And second is because she was having this attention-seeking disease. And so that nobody pays attention to her and in the form of a stone, she gets to repent. So when Ahalya heard Gautam Rishi saying that, she fell at Gautam Rishi's feet and she begged forgiveness for the mistake that she made. Gautam Rishi told her that a day will come when Lord Ram comes here. And the day Ram comes and he touches you with his feet, that day you will be able to overcome this situation. And then Gautam Rishi goes away. And Vishwamitra Muni points out to the stone which is so long. Ahalya has been in that form. And Vishwamitra Muni tells Lord Ram that please deliver Ahalya. And Ram immediately, he just lifts his feet and just puts it over the stone, not even touching the stone actually. A few drops of dust from the feet of Ram touch the stone. And instantly, she assumes her original form as Ahalya. As soon as Ahalya assumes her original form, Gautam Rishi comes back and accepts her also. And interestingly, from that point onwards, Ahalya considers Ram to be her father because practically Ram has given her another birth. Gautam Rishi, when he comes back, he completely accepts Ahalya and forgives her for her mistake. The understanding is here, Krishna understands two languages. He understands the language of repentance and he understands the language of penance. He doesn't understand Sanskrit, he doesn't understand English, he doesn't understand any other language in the world. He doesn't understand Hindi, Marathi or Dutch, French, he doesn't understand any of the languages. The only languages he understands is the language of repentance and the language of penance. So when we chant the 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are speaking the language of repentance. We are telling the Lord, my dear Lord, we are repenting for the original mistake that we made, rebelling away from you. And the language of penance is the four regulative principles. When we follow the four regulative principles, it's an austerity. There is a language that Krishna understands. How strict is your repentance? It is shown by your actions. That is penance. So that means if your conditioning is very strong, your penance has to be much stronger. So Ahalya practiced intense penance and intense repentance, and that's when she got forgiven of those mistakes that she made. So the understanding here is that Indra is compared to the mind, and Gautam Rishi is compared to the intelligence, and Ahalya is compared to the Atma, to the soul. So when the soul uses his intelligence, he can transform the world. But when the soul connects to the mind, which is very, very strong, the soul generally exhibits selfish tendencies. So the moment the individual soul connection to the mind is very strong, the intellect abandons the soul. And interestingly, if you look at this whole understanding of Ahalya's episode, one moment of inattention costed her so much. Generally, the material mind doesn't ask you for too much time. Maya doesn't ask you for your life. Maya doesn't ask you for a year. Maya doesn't even ask you for a month. Maya doesn't even ask you for 1 week. She doesn't even ask for 1 day. She only asks for 1 moment. So Maya convinces you by saying that you give your entire life to Krishna, only give me 1 moment. And your entire life is there for Krishna, serve Krishna, no problem, do spiritual life enthusiastically, I will support you. But you just give me 1 moment and that's all. So conditioned soul is thinking, it's not a bad idea. If Maya is giving such a proposal that she will not trouble you for the entire lifetime and she is only asking for 1 moment, what is the problem? And then we succumb to that 1 moment of inattention and we tell Maya, okay, no problem. Take 1 moment and the rest I'll give Krishna. So after that 1 moment, Maya says, can you give me 1 more moment? And then we say, 1 moment is not bad, They'll give 1 more moment. So then moment after moment, we end up giving our entire life to Maya, in the service of material energy. And that is how Maya tricks us. Maya never asks us for quantity. She asks us for 1 moment of good quality attention to her. And that's all she asks. So therefore, the mind has to be engaged. Otherwise, the material mind can take you away from your goal. There was a man who got a Aladdin lamp, From this lamp, the genie came out. So this genie told this man that, tell me anything I'll do for you. The man said, make a house for me. Instantly the genie made a house. The man said, get a car for me. Instantly the genie got a car. The man kept on telling so many things, instantly the genie kept doing it. And the genie told him, if you stop giving me engagement, I will beat you up. I will eat you up. So this man got bewildered. So the man kept giving him so many things and the genie was doing it in a second. Finally this man had nothing to give the genie. So he got confused. The genie started coming towards him to eat him up. The man said, go and get a ladder. So the genie went and got a ladder. He said, put it on the wall. The genie put it on the wall. And the man said, climb up and down the ladder till I call you. And the genie kept going up and down. And whenever he needed, he would call the genie. And that's exactly how we need to deal with the mind. The mind is like the genie. He's just going to give, he's going to make you crazy because he keeps getting all these wild ideas to do this and to do that and so many things. UK is a land of possibilities. So many things to do. So the mind is naturally going to give you so many ideas how to have fun. But the way to engage the mind is put it on the ladder. The beat bag is like a ladder. Up and down, up and down, up and down. So keep the mind engaged till it has something practical to do. I mean, if you don't have anything else to do, keep chanting. That's how you keep the mind engaged. So after the deliverance of Ahalya, the 3 of them walked towards Mithila. It is explained the city of Mithila was considered to be the most exquisitely beautiful city. And the city was sparkling with so many buildings and so many beautiful structures. So as Ram, Lakshman and Vishwamitra Muni are walking into the city, it is explained that every house, had a flag on top of the house. And the flags in the city were waving. And Kamaramayana explains that the flags appeared to be like hands. And they were fluttering, they were waving in the wind. It almost appeared that they were welcoming Ram into the city. They're looking so beautiful. So as Ram, Lakshmana and Vishwamitra Muni started walking into the city, they reached one particular section of the city where there was the most beautiful palace of the city. And that palace belonged to Mother Sita. And it is explained that Sita was the most beautiful person in the universe. And her beauty was so amazing that anyone who saw her once could just not take their eyes away from Mother Sita. And they would actually regret why they had eyes that blinked. Because in that one moment they would miss seeing Sita. And the demigods who had eyes that never blinked, demigods, their eyes don't blink at all. So the demigods who had eyes that never blinked, they repented why they had only two eyes. So Sita was so beautiful. And as Ram, Lakshmana and Vishwamitra Muni are walking below the palace of Sita, exactly at that time Sita appeared on her balcony. And Ram and Sita in this incarnation for the first time they saw each other. And as soon as Ram and Sita saw each other, their eyes practically riveted. They kept looking at each other for a long period of time. So generally when in these few months that Ram has been traveling with Vishwamitra Muni, whenever he comes across something that he doesn't understand, when he sees somebody, when he sees a place which he doesn't understand, he asks Vishwamitra Muni questions. This is the first time in Ram's journey he didn't ask any question to Vishwamitra Muni. No questions asked. And this is the first time in Sita's life she understood what is the meaning of beauty. Because till now Sita, she had been the most beautiful person. But when she saw Ram, she realized here is somebody who is matching her beauty practically. So suddenly Vishwamitra Muni walked away and Ram realized that he is lagging behind, and then he also followed Vishwamitra Muni. So they reached the center of the city. When Vishwamitra Muni, Ram and Lakshmana reached the center of the city, Janak Maharaj, the king of Mithila, the father of Mother Sita, along with Satananda Rishi, who is the guru of Mithila, both of them reached and greeted Vishwamitra Muni. So they had heard that Vishwamitra had come into Mithila, so they personally came to receive him. And they requested Vishwamitra Muni to stay for 12 days because the bow sacrifice was going on. Vishwamitra Muni kindly accepted it. So when Janak saw Ram and Lakshman, he asked Vishwamitra Muni who they are. And Vishwamitra Muni introduced Ram and Lakshman to Janak. So when Janak heard that Ram and Lakshman are the sons of Dasharath, he became very happy. Because Janak had gone for the Putra Kameshti Yagya of Dasharath. He knew that Dasharath had 4 sons born. He knew that these sons are the result of the celestial nectar. He knew that these sons are not ordinary sons. So Janak was very, very happy seeing Ram and Lakshman along with Vishwamitra Muni. And then Vishwamitra Muni started telling about how Ram had killed Tataka and he had destroyed Marich and Subahu. Now, as Vishwamitra Muni was describing the greatness of Ram to Janak Maharaj and Satananda Rishi, Satananda Rishi was just not impressed. I mean, killing Tataka was not a joke. Tataka was a powerful demoness. Satananda Rishi was just not impressed. So Vishwamitra Muni kept telling that he destroyed Tataka. Satananda Rishi, no reaction. He hit Marich, sent him 800 miles into the ocean, no reaction. Killed Subahu and so many of the demons, no reaction. So Vishwamitra Muni was thinking, why is this person not getting impressed? Then finally Vishwamitra Muni said, Ram has also delivered Ahalya. So as soon as he said Ram has delivered Ahalya, Satananda Rishi practically jumped out. He said, what? He has delivered Ahalya. That really impressed him. Why was Satananda Rishi impressed with Ram delivering Ahalya and not really bothered about the other things? Because Satananda Rishi apparently was a son of Ahalya and Gautam Rishi. So can you imagine, he had seen his mother as a stone for so many years and he was completely helpless. He could not help her, he could not revive her. And he was worshipping his mother every day as a stone, and suddenly he comes to know that Ram has delivered her. She is, reunited with Gautam Rishi. So Satananda Rishi was really impressed with this quality of Ram. So heroic acts may attract a common person, but acts of compassion attract the hearts of great souls. So Satananda Rishi was not impressed that Ram killed Tataka. He was not impressed that Ram had killed Marich Subahu. All that didn't impress him. They were all heroic acts, but that didn't impress Satananda Rishi. What impressed him was the one act of compassion that Ram showed by delivering Ahalya, his mother. So in today's world, modern world, people don't understand what is the meaning of compassion. For people today, when we talk about the word compassion, it means compassion. Welcome passion in my life. That is what people understand. Compassion. And the Gita, the spiritual concept of life, teaches us to decrease passion. In Hindi, the word kam means decrease. Compassion. Kam karo passion. So, spiritual life is about decreasing passion and increasing empathy. And material life is about welcoming passion into our life and naturally being unconcerned about others. There was a small girl who had come home and she started demanding from her mother, that she wanted to shave her head. So the mother was confused. Young girl, why is she wanting to shave her head? She was insisting, really pestering her mother, and finally the mother got her head shaved. The next day the mother followed the girl to the school to find out what's happening. And she saw this girl was sitting next to another boy who also had a shaved head. So the mother was even more confused. So she went and asked the class teacher, what's happening? Why is my girl behaving like this? The class teacher explained that this boy had cancer and he had lost all his hair because of the therapy. And all the other children in the class are making fun of this boy. So this girl, just to give him company, she also shaved and came. So the teacher explained that your girl is really a highly sensitive person. So there are people in this world who are highly scholarly. The word Veda means knowledge. In Sanskrit, the word Veda means knowledge, but there's another word which is Vedana. Vedana means suffering. So there are people in this world who have knowledge of the Vedas, but have no knowledge of suffering of others. No knowledge about what others are going through in their life. So having knowledge of the Vedas, but without understanding the Vedana of others is actually useless. So great people are not attracted by your greatness. Great people are attracted by a quality of compassion that you exhibit. Satananda Rishi, he invites Ram Lakshman to the palace. So Janak Maharaj and Satananda Rishi, both of them begin to explain to Ram and Lakshman about the greatness of Mithila. So Vishwamitra Muni tells Janak, the two of them, Ram and Lakshman, are very enthusiastic to see the bow of Lord Shiva. Can you show them the bow? So Janak Maharaj explains that before showing them the bow, let me explain to them about the greatness of this bow. And he tells the story about how he got the bow in the first place. He says, long back, Vishwakarma had created two bows. One bow he had given to Lord Shiva and another bow he had given to Lord Vishnu. So Shiva had used his bow to kill the Tripurasura demon. So the demigods, when they heard about these two bows, the bow of Lord Shiva and the bow of Lord Vishnu, the demigods wanted to know which bow is more powerful and which of the two, Vishnu and Shiva, who is more stronger. They went to Brahmaji and they told Brahmaji, please, can you arrange a fight between Vishnu and Shiva? Brahmaji said, what's your problem in life? Everything is going normal. Why do you want to create fight between the two of them? Control. It guarantees personal embarrassment and it guarantees public disturbance. The demigods were just too curious. And the result was that there could have been a universal destruction due to their curiosity. The original, the Bible explains the story of Adam and Eve, and it talks about how the snake had come into their life and made curiosity about their apple. So God told them, don't eat the apple, you will be happy in life. The snake came and told them, do you know why God told you not to eat the apple? It created curiosity in them. And they said, why? So the snake said, if you eat the apple, you will become God. And that curiosity was considered to be the original sin, as it explained in the Bible. So here the demigods, they kind of felt sorry about what they did. And finally, Lord Shiva, he handed over his bow to the demigods. So the demigods gave it to a king named Devavrata. And from Devavrata, the um, the bow kept coming down in a chain of kings till it came to the sixth king, who was the founder of the dynasty of Janak, whose name was Nimi. And then finally it reached Janak Maharaj. Lord Vishnu had given his bow to Parashuram, and then actually he gave it to Richika Muni. Richika Muni gave it to Jamadagni, and Jamadagni gave it to Parashuram, like that. So anyway, so Janak Maharaj explained the story about the Shiva's bow, and then he told his soldiers, go and get the bow. So when Janak Maharaj told his soldiers to get the bow, 5,000 people went to get the bow. Can you imagine? One small bow and 5,000 people are going to get it. So the bow was so huge and so heavy that it was actually kept in a building adjacent to the courtroom, and 500 bulls had to drag a cart, and 5,000 men had to push the cart, and then the cart would move. You can imagine how heavy the bow was. And as the bow was being brought into the courtroom, people of Mithila began to talk, began to whisper and talk with each other. Somebody said, this is not a bow, this is the rainbow. Fall on the ground. Somebody else said, this is the Mount Meru, which is in the form of a bow. Somebody else said, the Mandara mountain that was used to churn the milk ocean has become a bow now. So like that, different people started speculating about what this is and all that. So Janak explained to Ram and Lakshman that the bow was being worshipped every single day in Mithila, from the day it has come. Now interestingly, Shiva used the bow, and all these people are worshipping the bow. Why they are worshipping the bow? Because none of them can lift the bow. What to speak of using it? So essentially in life, most people have a eagerness to possess something valuable, rather than having the ability to use whatever they have in their possession as valuable. So most people in life, they like to accumulate things which are great and very, very valuable, but most of them don't know how to use it only. Like for example, people buy Bhagavad Gita and they just don't read it. Therefore, in many of them, it's the houses, they keep it as it is, Bhagavad Gita as it is, kept in the houses. Probably that's why Prabhupada named it like that, Bhagavad Gita as it is. So most people keep it in the house without removing the plastic bag cover also. So I go to so many people's houses and they give me the Gita with the cover. I tell them, why didn't you open it? Why didn't you read it? They say, we are waiting for you only, Prabhuji, to inaugurate. So Janak Maharaj explained the pain that he was going through as a father. So he explained that nobody was able to lift the bow. He had kept a condition for his daughter's marriage, Sita's marriage, that anybody who can lift this bow can marry Sita. Now, as Janak began to explain the condition for the marriage of Sita, the people of Mithila began to whisper, discuss among themselves. They started saying that our king is a fool. Who's going to give such a condition for his daughter's marriage? Thousands of people have tried to lift that bow and nobody has been successful. So the people of Mithila were feeling that Janak was really a foolish person to give such a big condition for the marriage of his daughter. It almost seemed that Sita is never going to get married. By this time, because people were having so many doubts and accusing him, actually Janak started feeling that maybe he made a mistake by keeping this condition. The question is, was Janak really a fool to keep a condition like this for his daughter's marriage? The understanding is, there was a story of Sita's childhood that Janak had not told the world. It is explained that when Sita was a small child, she was once playing with her friends and a ball happened to go below the bow. So to pick up the ball, Sita lifted the bow with the left hand, picked up the ball and then threw the bow down and ran away. Effortlessly. So when the guards saw Sita lifting that bow, thousands of men couldn't lift together. They fainted literally. And when Janak was told the story, that is when he decided the condition for somebody to marry Sita is that he has to do it at least lift the bow once. Can you imagine if Sita got married to one thin fellow, and she embraced him? What will happen to that guy? So at least that person should have the strength to lift the bow at least. That's the condition that Janak had put. Now, life often puts you in tricky situations where you cannot share your struggles and frustrations with everybody in the world. Janak could not tell the story to anybody in the world. Because if he tells the story about Sita, lifting the bow, and probably people would have, God knows what interpretation they would have made of it, what they would have considered Sita and what kind of, rumors would have spread. So he just couldn't tell this to anybody else. Sometimes embarrassments that you go through in your life, you can't share with anybody. And such sticky and tricky situations of life, what do? That is the time the Janak took shelter of prayers. When you go through a situation where you know it is frustrating, you know it is depressing, you know it is highly weird, and you can't share it with the world also, what do? That's the time you should take shelter of prayers. Because prayers is a tool that you can use in such situations as alternative sources to find hope in life. Janak Maharaj looked at Ram with great hope now. Thousands of people had failed in the past. And Janak Maharaj tells Vishwamitra Muni, if Ram is able to lift the bow, then he can marry Sita. So the Acharyas, talk about this word if quite a lot. The word if indicates Janak's doubting mentality. He had seen so many failures in the past. Now, when he is saying Ram, even when he is seeing Ram, he is thinking that maybe he may also fail. This is what we call in our Vedic scriptures as doubting Janak. There is a doubting Thomas in the Christian scriptures, and we have an equivalent of it, doubting Janak. So doubting Janak is a person who has seen so many failures and begins to doubt God also. So sometimes when we see failure after failure in our life, we begin to think, will it work? Somebody tells us, chant Hare Krishna and you will be happy. And we start thinking, will it work? The Srimad Bhagavatam describes the story of Vritrasur. It is explained that there was this huge demon named Vritrasur, and when Vritrasur was fighting against Indra, so Vritrasur was a powerful demon and Indra was a powerful demigod. And Indra had a Vajra, a thunderbolt weapon in his hand, which Vishnu had himself empowered. And Vishnu had told Indra, you use the thunderbolt weapon on Vritrasur, he will die surely. But unfortunately, when Indra came in front of Vritrasur, before throwing the thunderbolt weapon, he threw a mace at Vritrasur. So Vritrasur was so big that he caught the mace in his hand, he threw it back at Indra. And the mace hit Airavat so powerfully that the elephant was thrown behind 100 yards. Now Indra lost confidence in himself. Now he was holding the thunderbolt in his hand and he was thinking, what if I throw this and he throws it back at me? So he lost confidence in the thunderbolt. He kept thinking, should I throw? Should I not throw? At that time, Vritrasur gives him a lecture. Vritrasur gives him a Bhagavatam class. He tells him, don't worry, use it, it will work. It is Vishnu's weapon. He was giving him a full-fledged Bhagavatam class, how he should have faith in Vishnu's weapon and all that. So sometimes when we are chanting the holy names of the Lord, we tend to forget that the holy name works. And some demon, some fellow who has never chanted, he says, don't worry, have faith, you chant. It happens like that. Like Srila Prabhupada, once he was in Amsterdam, and there was this deity welcoming ceremony happening, the installation of deities, and it was an utter chaos. The whole ceremony was utter chaos because Prabhupada had given them so many instructions, and the devotees were very new. And every instruction that Prabhupada gave them, they did ulta only, they did completely opposite. So Prabhupada told them to make pushpanna. Pushpanna is a particular type of rice, flavored rice it's called. So they thought Prabhupada wants pushpa, flowers. They brought flowers and kept. So then Prabhupada said, decorate the Yajna Kund with fruits. So when Prabhupada came over there, no fruits were there on the Yajna Kund. So Prabhupada asked, where is the fruits? He said, we put in fruit salad. So Prabhupada was really frustrated with these guys. Everything I'm telling them, they're doing something else only. So finally the ceremony was happening and Prabhupada was really angry at all these people. There was a whole media team, there was like live recording going on and hundreds of cameras and all that, And in the midst of the whole ceremony, these devotees had created a canopy. 4 pillars, on that there was a canopy, and below that the deities were there. In the middle of the whole ceremony, Prabhupada saw the pillars were shaking. And he realized that the whole thing is going to fall on the deities. Prabhupada jumped up, held the pillars together, and he started shouting at the top of his voice, take out the canopy. So, this is the first time a deity installation ceremony was taking place in the Western world. So the camera crew and all that, the news channel, they thought this was a part of the ceremony. They were recording live, And Prabhupada is firing this, take this out, and he's blasting people like anything, So they thought this is all part of the ceremony. So all live recording is going on. And Prabhupada was really, really angry. In the middle of the whole thing, one guy, completely new fellow, first time he is coming, and he taps on the shoulder of Prabhupada and he says, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Can you imagine? He's like the founder of the Hare Krishna movement, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. And as soon as Prabhupada hears that, he puts his hand inside the bead bag and starts chanting. Sometimes we need to be reminded by somebody who has absolutely no connection with us with the spiritual process. That the process works. The doubting Janak, is telling, if you lift the bow, then you can marry Sita. So Ram, now he turns towards Vishwamitra Muni and he asks him, can I see the bow? So Vishwamitra Muni says, please go ahead. So Ram goes to Vishwamitra Muni, takes his blessings and starts walking towards the bow. So now the entire Mithila, everyone is watching Ram. And just the walk of Ram, as he walked towards the bow, the confidence that comes out, that exudes Ram's persona when he's walking towards the bow is just amazing. It is explained that the walk of Ram looked like the gait of a lion, Simha Gati. It looked like the rage of a tiger, Vyagra Gati. It looked like the pride of a bull, Rishabha Gati. And then it looked like the majesty of an elephant, Gajagati. And it looked like the latent energy of a snake, Sarpagati. So when Ram was walking, everyone was able to perceive these 5-6 animals walking together, the majesty of all these animals together. And everyone knew something is going to happen now. Everyone knew Ram is going to do it. So as Ram was walking towards the bow, he reached the bow, looked at the bow, went around the bow 3 times, respectfully. Then he asks Vishwamitra Muni, can I touch it? Vishwamitra Muni says, please go ahead, touch it. Then he touches the bow and he asks, can I lift it? Vishwamitra Muni says, please lift it. Can you imagine? At every point, Ram is asking permission from his Guru. So, generally, whenever there is great confidence in oneself, many times that great confidence in oneself converts into arrogance. So to prevent this great confidence and overconfidence in oneself into turning into arrogance, what is needed is respect. Respect is like an antiseptic that prevents confidence into degenerating into arrogance. And Ram, he was highly confident about his abilities, but along with confidence, he was also highly respectful towards his Guru, towards his teachers. And that combination really brought him blessings. So Ram, he looks at the bow, he touches the bow, and he decides to pick up the bow. As Ram is touching and picking up the bow, everyone who was sitting in the assembly, they were spellbound, wrapped in attention. Everyone sat unblinking. because they knew that in 1 second that we blink, something will happen over there. So literally people are holding their eyes open, so that they don't miss anything. And Ram lifted the bow just like an elephant lifts a lotus flower, completely effortlessly. People, they were bewildered when they saw Ram just picking up the bow so effortlessly. He kept the bow on the ground and he held the bow with his right toe. And he tried to string the thread. As he began to string it, the bow snapped in between. And he explained, the sound of the snapping of the bow was so deafening, so loud, that practically everyone in the assembly fell unconscious. They fell on their seats literally, except Janak Maharaj, Dasharatha, Vishwamitra Muni, Janak Maharaj, Vishwamitra Muni, Ram and Lakshman. Everyone else just collapsed, fell unconscious. Janak Maharaj jumped up. Finally, somebody had lifted the bow. He was so happy. He instructed people, go and get Sita immediately. So all the friends of Sita ran up to her. And it's very interesting that the breaking of the bow, the sound of the breaking of the bow was so loud that practically the entire universe heard it, except Sita. Sita didn't even hear the breaking of the sound of the bow. Why? Because from the previous day when she had seen Ram for the first time, Sita was completely lost in the thoughts of Ram. And she was so absorbed in the consciousness of Ram, she was so absorbed in the thoughts of Ram, that she had not even heard the sound outside. So essentially, Sita represents a living entity like us, and Ram represents the element of changelessness. The world is constantly changing around us. So when we are in the constantly changing world, how do we remain stable and unaffected? The way to remain stable and unaffected is if we can absorb our mind in something that is changeless. Because Sita was so absorbed in Ram, nothing affected her. Such a big change had happened in the whole universe, such a massive sound had happened, powerful bow had been broken. She didn't even realize it. There are many people in this world who change with changing times. It's like being in the midst of a cyclone. When you are in the middle of a cyclone, how do you not get affected by the cyclone? The only way is if you can hold on to something that doesn't get affected by the cyclone. If you hold on to a pillar or a post that is not going to shake no matter how much turbulence and wind is there, then you can also remain stable. Unfortunately, people have nothing to hold on to. Because people have nothing to hold on to, they also keep roaming around in the cyclone, changing certain things of the world. Fashion changes, suddenly everybody changes. Fashion goes in another direction, suddenly everybody goes in another direction. Nowadays, everybody is growing beards. Nowadays, everybody is using the umbrellas that were used in the olden times, the big umbrellas. So things keep changing again and again. And if you are in a changeless world, if you are in a ever-changing world, and you are not holding on to anything stable, you also get carried away by the instability of this world. Of course, it doesn't mean that there is no room for fashion in a devotee's life. But it just means that we can't be chasing something that is constantly changing. We need to hold on to something very stable, and then it's fine. You can go along with the world, that's fine. But in principle, you should have something stable. So Sita, when she heard that the bow was broken, she was very, very much in anxiety. Who broke it? She didn't know it was the same person whom she had seen the previous day. So with great anxiety in her heart, she came down to the courtroom, and as soon as, of course, she was wearing a veil on her face, so she couldn't see clearly straight. So she saw below just the feet of Ram. As soon as she saw the feet of Ram, she knew the same person, and she was happy to get married to Ram. On the other hand, Ram was also going through a turmoil in his heart. So the previous day he had seen Sita, he was very, very enthusiastic and eager about marrying Sita. He was wondering if it was the same person who was going to come down, and as soon as Sita came down, he knew the same person. But now he had a dilemma in his heart. The dilemma that he had in his heart was, here is supposed to be a marriage ceremony happening. I'm supposed to be getting married, but I don't have my father's permission for this. My father has asked me to go with Vishwamitra Muni to protect the sacrifice and not to get married. So Ram was going through this dilemma. I want to get married to her, but at the same time, I don't want to do it without my father's sanction. So Ram's life was etched by principles. As I said, Anushtan Pradhan. So naturally, he was supposed to set an ideal example for the world. It's not that Ram wasn't thinking about from Sita's point of view. But the point was, Ram was thinking that a marriage is not supposed to be marriage of two people. It is supposed to be marriage of two legacies. For me, without the sanction of my father and approval of the whole family, this marriage is going to be a very selfish affair, just my desire. So Ram, he actually declared, he spoke out loudly. He said, my father has sent me with Vishwamitra Muni to protect the sacrifice. I can't marry till he permits. Janak Maharaj practically fainted. Thousands of people had not done what Ram had done. Finally, one person comes and lifts the bow, and that person is saying, I can't marry. And all the bows are broken, So Janak Maharaj was highly confused. What's going on here? He ran towards Vishwamitra Muni just like a sick child runs towards a mother. And Vishwamitra Muni looked at Janak Maharaj, very cool. He said, what's wrong? Ram didn't say, I don't want to marry. He only said, I can't marry till my father approves. Simply send, messengers to Dasharath and get his approval. That's all. So sometimes we need people like Vishwamitra Muni in our life who can help us deal with the paradoxes of life. Paradoxes are opposites. Opposite statements, both of which seem to be true. And we don't know how to handle opposites in our life. Like for example, if I say that Ravi doesn't eat all day long, but he's getting fatter and fatter. There are two opposite statements. He's not eating all day long. How is he getting fatter and fatter? To resolve a paradox like this, you need a third statement. He eats at night. He doesn't eat all day long, but he eats at night. Therefore, he's getting fatter and fatter. So now, Vishwamitra Muni, when he was faced with a paradox like this, he resolved it using his practical wisdom. In life, each one of us will go through dilemmas like this. That is the time we need guidance the most. In the Mahabharata, there is a story where Arjun, one time actually Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was fighting with Karna in a war, in the Kurukshetra war. And as Yudhishthira was fighting with Karna, he actually very badly lost against Karna. He was practically on the verge of dying. So Karna, he just kind of insulted him very badly, and Yudhishthira went off from his chariot driver, took him back to his camp. So when Arjun heard this, Arjun came running to find out if Yudhishthira is alright. So as soon as Arjun entered the camp of Yudhishthira to find out if he is alright, Yudhishthira asked him, have you killed Karna? Arjun said, no, I just came to see if you're fine. Yudhishthira got really wild on Arjun. He got so upset and so angry at Arjun, he started blasting him. He said, I should not have had any expectation from you. If I had an expectation from Nakul and Sahadev, they probably would have done it. He said, you are a useless person. And he started blasting him. He said, our mother should not have given you birth only. In fact, our mother should have aborted you in the womb when you were 3 months in her womb. And he said, your Gandiva bow is just a piece of stick. Throw it. Useless it is. So when Yudhishthira said all this, Arjun, he went crazy. He took out his sword and went to kill Yudhishthira. Now Krishna was standing over there. He said, you came over here to find if your brother is alright. Why are you going to kill him? Arjun said, see, I have taken a vow that anybody who tells me to throw my Gandhi bow, I'll kill that person. Krishna told him, who told you to take such vows? You know? You should have at least asked me before taking such vows. Randomly taking vows like that. So Arjun said, now what to do? I have taken a vow already. So Krishna tells him, according to the scripture, there is a way out of this. He said, according to the scriptures, if anybody abuses his elder brother, anybody elder, if he gives bad words to an elder, it is as good as killing the elder. So he told Arjun, you give bad words to your Yudhishthira, elder brother. So Arjun went and started blasting Yudhishthira like anything. He said, all the problems in our life is because of you only. So if you didn't have attachment to gambling, you would not have been so unhappy in life. Blasted Yudhishthira like anything. So after blasting him, Arjun took out the sword and he was going to kill himself. Krishna said, now what happened? He said, how can I live after abusing my elder brother like that? Krishna said, there is a solution for that also. He said, according to the scriptures, if you praise yourself, it is as good as committing suicide. So practically all Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all suicidal attempts. So Arjun started praising himself like anything. He said, you don't know who I am. I have defeated Indra, I have defeated Shiva, I have done this, I have done... He went on and on glorifying himself. And finally he became peaceful. And both Yudhishthira and Arjun fell at Krishna's feet. And actually, thanked him for saving their lives. He said, if you were not there in our life, God knows what we would have done. So all of us in our own lives, we go through these practical dilemmas. And we need somebody who can guide us and help us come out of these complications of life. So now, as Ram said that, and this whole conversation between Janak and Vishwamitra and Ram is happening, Sita was standing there with the garland in her hand. Can you imagine Sita's plight? Thousands of people in the past have not been able to do what has been the condition for a marriage. So many years she's been waiting for the right person to come who has the ability to lift that bow. And finally one person comes and lifts the bow and he's saying, I can't marry you. So you can imagine what is going on in Sita's heart. But the interesting thing is, at this point, Sita is really happy. In fact, Sita is convinced that I want to marry only him. Now, from Sita's point of view, for a woman to give her life to a man, the man has to have three qualities. And interestingly, Sita found all these three qualities in Ram. The first quality that a man has to have for a woman to actually offer her life to him is the ability to protect. He should be valiant enough and brave enough to be able to protect her. The second quality is that he should have the ability to express himself, speak his heart out clearly. The third is self-control. So Ram, as soon as she saw him the previous day, just looking at his broad shoulders, just looking at his personality, she knew he is the person for me. And now that he lifted this huge bow, naturally he had proved beyond a doubt that he had the ability to protect her. The second thing was more important for her than the first thing. In fact, the second thing is more important for any woman than the first thing. The man's ability to express himself clearly. So, a man and woman, they are different. And they are from different mindsets, they think differently. They even more, So the more he thinks, she starts getting even more worried that he is in real problem, I need to help him. And my way of helping him is by speaking. If he speaks what his problem is, I can help him, So, man and woman are from two different worlds. And one of the things that a woman needs from a man is the ability to speak what is going on in the heart clearly. And when Sita saw Ram speaking those words to Janak, that means he articulately, clearly explained what he's thinking. Sita said, this is what I need in my husband. The ability to express clearly. And the third thing that Sita was feeling that a woman needs to see in a man is self-control. So, wars have been fought over her beauty. So many people have died over her beauty. And here is a person who finally is qualified to marry her, and he is saying, I don't want to marry till I get permission. So what kind of self-control he must be having, What kind of discipline he must be having. So Sita was convinced that if anybody is worth marrying, it is Ram. Till the marriage, Ram was a student focused on studies and self-development. But the marriage of Sita makes him think beyond his own needs. The word marriage in Sanskrit is kalyana. And the word kalyana means auspiciousness. It is explained that when two rivers come together, it is considered to be a very auspicious atmosphere. And naturally, wherever two rivers come, the confluence of two rivers is considered to be a very auspicious place. A marriage is supposed to be the coming together of two legacies. It is not the coming together of two individuals. Just like in a river, it's not two drops of water that come together, but it's hundreds of drops of water that come together in the confluence of two rivers. And that is how the principle of marriage is. So essentially, Ram, when he thinks about getting married with Sita, he's not just thinking from his point of view, but he's thinking from the legacies, two legacies coming together. So some messengers were sent to Dasharath Maharaj, and these messengers were very clearly instructed by Vishwamitra what to speak. So the messengers went and told Dasharath that Ram had entered Mithila with Vishwamitra Muni by mistake. Now, the reason Vishwamitra Muni had told them to tell by mistake is because Dasharath shouldn't assume that it was a plan of Vishwamitra Muni from beginning only. Because if he sees it as a plan of Vishwamitra Muni, he will think differently. He may not want to. He may think that there is a manipulation going on, match fixing. Already, previously only everything has been decided. And then he told them to tell that about all the heroic deeds of Ram, how he killed Tataka, how he killed Maritsubahu, how he delivered Ahilya, and how he broke the bow. So when Dasharath heard about the breaking of the bow, he said, that noise, I knew it was the breaking of the Shiva's bow, but I didn't know my son broke it. Because even the noise was heard in Ayodhya, so far away. You can imagine how powerful that bow was. So when the marriage proposal was given, Dasharath immediately looked at Vasishtha Muni, his guru. And Vasishtha instantly approved it. And Dasharath declared a celebration. In fact, he made a declaration that any citizen of Ayodhya is welcome to come for the marriage ceremony to Mithila. So the procession, hundreds and thousands and millions of people literally travelled from Ayodhya to Mithila to witness the marriage of Ram and Sita. It is explained that Dasharath was going right in the front of the marriage procession and he was feeling so excited. And the procession was so long, it is explained that when the first person reached Mithila, the last person was still in Ayodhya. That was the length of the procession. And finally, Dasharath and Janak Maharaj met and they embraced each other. It is explained that when Janak and Dasharath embraced, the people who were witnessing this very, very historic event, they felt as if the sun and moon were embracing each other. Because Janak was from the lunar dynasty and Dasharath was from the solar dynasty. It was the coming together of the two kings of the lunar and solar dynasty. So Dasharath, Janak Maharaj told Dasharath that I have put my condition for the marriage and Ram has satisfied the condition. Now you tell me what is your condition for marriage. Dasharath said, I am a receiver, I am a beggar. And a receiver doesn't think before receiving. He said, whatever you give, we will accept very happily, and we have no conditions in receiving, and we have no conditions in the whole thing. Most people in this world, they feel that for a relationship to work, you have to put conditions. The more conditions you put, the more satisfying the relationship will be. But the fact is that conditions and satisfaction are inversely proportional to each other. The more conditions you put in a relationship, the less satisfying the relationship is. relationships which have no conditions at all, they are the most satisfying relationship because they are very natural relationships. Between a mother and a child, what condition is there? What condition does a mother put to take care of the child for life? Nothing. When there is love, there is no conditions at all. So Dasharatha Maharaj and Janak were very happy with this whole marriage. And the next day, there was a whole discussion about the different dynasties. So Janak and Satananda Rishi started describing the greatness of their dynasty. And Vishwamitra Muni and Vashishta started describing the greatness of the Ikshvaku dynasty. So the greatness of both the dynasties were being shared. Janak Maharaj explains that the founder of their dynasty was a king named Nimi. So Nimi was a very, very powerful king, and one time he was performing a yajna, a sacrifice, where he had called Vashishta, the same Vashishta, to be the officiator of the yajna. Vashishta was his guru at that point of time. He agreed to come, but unfortunately at the same time Vashishta got invitation to another yajna in the heavenly planets. So Vashishta chose to go to the heavenly planets for the yajna because there was more donation over there. So he thought, my disciple, what is he going to do? Well, he has no option. So anyway, he'll wait for me. So he went and did that yajna and came back. By the time Nimi had done yajna with somebody else. So Vashishta got really angry. He said, how dare you do the yajna without me? Nimi said, how dare you go to the heaven? When I'm supposed to be a disciple, you're supposed to do my yajna first. Vashishta said, he cursed him. He told Nimi that I curse you that you will die now. Nimi said, I will curse you, you also die now. And both of them died. And all the Brahmanas, when they saw the king and the guru are dead, so the Brahmanas are bewildered. So they decided to revive both of them. So they told Nimi and Vashishta, you just agree to be revived, we will revive you. Nimi said, I am not interested in this body. I want to go back to the spiritual world, I am done. And Vashishta, he decided to get revived because he had more services to perform for Lord Ram's incarnation in future. So when Nimi, he decided not to take another birth again, the Brahmanas churned the body of Nimi. And from the churning of the body of Nimi, of course, this is what probably the modern world calls it cloning techniques. From the churning of the body of Nimi came out another personality who was known as Mithi Janak. Mithi means manthan, manthan means churning, and Janak means the one who is born. So from that time onwards, every king that is born in the dynasty gets the title Janak. So Sita's father is known as Shiradhaja Janak. So it's not that it's the same Janak. So you'll find the story of different Janaks. You hear the word Janak again and again in the scriptures. So they're not all the same people. They're all different peoples, basically. They're different eras and different times, but in the same dynasty. So because Nimi had exhibited this kind of selflessness and detachment from the body, he got a name. And in fact, everybody in Mithila got a new name. Mithila came to be known as Vaidehapur. Deha means body, and Vaideha means the one who is beyond the body, detached from the body. And Vaidehapur means people who live in a city where nobody is interested in the body. And therefore Sita's name came to be known as Vaidehi, because she is born in that place. And the reason this story is being told in this section of the Ramayana is because Ram is not born in an ordinary way. He is not the physical body, he is completely spiritual. And Sita is also detached from the body. She is also not ordinary. That is why the story is being told here. And then there is a whole section of description of Sita's birth. It is explained that Janak Maharaj, he had organized a sacrifice, and a part of the sacrifice was that the king had to plow a field. And as he was plowing the field at different places, the plow would get stuck. In one particular place, the plow got stuck permanently practically. So they dug up that place and they found a golden box inside that place. Beautiful golden box. When Janak opened the golden box, inside the golden box was a beautiful girl. And Janak realized that just by the will of providence that this girl had come into his life, and he accepted the girl. And that girl came to be known as Sita. The word Sita means tip of a plow. Sita means the one who is born at the tip of a plow. And Sita came to be, got into Janak's life in this most amazing way. So she is also known as Bhumi Suta because she is born from the earth. She is known as Vaidehi because she is not connected to the body, detached from the body. Like that, there are different names that Sita is given. It is explained that when Sita was in this particular situation, Janak Maharaj was having this one thought in his mind. The thought that Janak was having was that Sita was born from nowhere, just came into his life just like that, mystically. And now Sita is going to disappear from his life. So the word Kanyadan in our Vedic scriptures, this word Kanyadan means, generally people think that the father is giving the charity of the daughter to the husband. But the understanding of Kanyadan in our scriptures is a totally different understanding. What is the meaning of Kanyadan? One of the rituals that is done in a ceremony, in a marriage ceremony, the last ritual that is done is that the girl takes a little rice in her hand and she throws it behind her. What is the indication? What is the meaning of this rice being thrown behind? That they are not the best of friends. They are quite enthusiastic enemies. And when these two are talking together on the side, people are wondering what they are talking about. Because till this point of time, they had nothing in common. They were bitter enemies. And suddenly they are making some plans and talking and all that. So people are very inquisitive to know what exactly they are talking. So the two of them came back and suddenly they were smiling. And they started saying that we have a proposal for you. So they started telling Janak and Dasharath Maharaj. They said, instead of only the marriage of Ram and Sita happening today, why don't you have the marriage of all the 4 sons? Bharat can marry, Lakshman can marry Urmila, who is sister of Sita. And Bharat can marry Mandavi. So Janak had a brother. So Janak was Shiradwaja and Janak's brother was Kushadwaja, Janak. So he said, Bharat can marry Kushadwaja, Janak's daughter Mandavi, and Shatrughna can marry his another daughter Sutakirti. So Vashishta and Vishwamitra had this proposal for 4 marriages happening simultaneously. So as soon as Janak, Dasharath and Kushadwaja heard this, they became immediately happy and they agreed for the 4 marriages. And all the 4 boys, when they saw the 4 girls, they immediately agreed for the marriage. And then there was a declaration that was done. 2 bricks, when they are held together, to be held together, you need a layer of cement in between. Otherwise, you can't keep the bricks standing together. It won't last. You push it, it will all fall. So 2 human beings, for them to stay together, especially 2 independently thoughtful and different human beings stay together, you need something to bond them. Vishwamitra and Vashishta were different people. They had nothing together, nothing in common at all. And all these years, there was nothing bonding them also. Finally, they had found something that is actually bonding them and cementing them together, and that was their love for Ram. And because they had this intense love for Ram, they actually could cooperate with one another. A home in Sanskrit is called bhavan. The word bhavan essentially means home. But the word bhavan is made up of 2 letters, bha and van. Bha means, it comes from the word Bhagavan. So that means the place where God is in the center, Bhagavan is in the center, that place is called as bhavan. But in the place where bha is not there, bha is missing, then what remains is van. Van means jungle. And in jungle, who stays? Wild animals. They bite each other, they scratch each other, they kick each other. So in a house where God is not in the center, that house becomes a jungle. That house becomes practically a mad place. That's why it is said that before the marriage, the husband talks and the wife listens. After the marriage, the wife talks and the husband listens. After a few years of marriage, both talk and the neighbors listen. And therefore, Bhavan means the place where Bha is not in the center. That place becomes one. So Vishwamitra and Vashishta, who were intensely fighting, they were united together by the presence of Ram in their lives. Finally, the marriage ceremony was taking place between Ram and Mother Sita. And as the marriage ceremony was taking place, all the citizens of Ayodhya were intensely engaged in looking at the beauty of Ram and Sita. The Mithila Vasis were looking at the beauty of Ram and Sita. It is explained that the eyes were battling with each other whom to focus on. To focus on Ram or to focus on Sita. Sometimes one eye would look at Ram, another eye would look at Sita, sometimes the other eye they would exchange. Sometimes the eyes would get so confused that they would close their eyes. And they would close their eyes, within their eyes also they could see Ram and Sita. Some people felt that Sita should have 1,000 eyes to be able to appreciate the beauty of Ram properly. Somebody else felt it is actually Ram who needs to have 1,000 eyes to be able to appreciate the beauty of Sita properly. Some other people felt that Ram needs to have 1,000 eyes added every moment because Sita's beauty keeps increasing. One of the names of the Lord is known as Aparyamrita. Aparyamrita essentially means the one whose beauty never fades. Beauty in this world keeps fading. Why do people take selfies so much? Because in a short while, the beauty is now going to last, whatever little is there now. And therefore, people want to capture it and keep, just in case they become ugly the next day. But the Lord's beauty, the Lord is known as Aparyamrita, that means His beauty keeps increasing day by day. If you look at the ancient deities of the Lord being worshipped, it's just amazing to find every year the beauty of the deities increases. I mean, I have been connected to this to the Talagopinath temple in this Chaupati. I have seen the deities from 1996. And if you look at those deities today, and you look at the photographs of the deities in 96, you can't believe they're the same deities. You just can't believe. The beauty has increased so much. And it's just amazing that nobody does anything to the deities in that sense, to beautify. It's, no beauty parlors internally involved, and nothing extra happening to the deities every year. Absolutely nothing at all. But the beauty of the deities is just increasing day by day. And simultaneously look at the beauty of the devotees who are hanging around from 96 till now. The beauty of the devotees keeps decreasing, naturally. That's why the Lord is called as Aparyamrita. Janak Maharaj, he placed, when the marriage ceremony was taking place, generally in regular marriages, the hand of the man is placed over the hand of the woman. But in the marriage of Sita and Ram, Janak placed the hand of Sita over the hand of Ram, indicating that Ram is now under her care. From a spiritual perspective, this is very significant because Ram represents the Supreme Lord and Sita represents the energy of the Lord. For a spiritual aspirant, the role of a mother is more important than the role of a father. In fact, all of us, when we chant the holy names of the Lord, we never chant Ram Sita. We always chant Sita Ram. We never chant Krishna Radha. We always chant Radha Krishna. Lakshmi Narayan. The reason the name of the energy is chanted before the name of the energetic is because the mother is always more merciful than the father. And the eyes of the Lord, one eye is made up of is like the sun, and the other eye is like the moon. One eye is of law, and the other eye is of love. But in the case of the mother, the Divine Mother, both the eyes are of moon. So the Divine Mother doesn't see faults in us. Krishna sometimes looks at our faults. And therefore, we need to be careful, when we're hanging around with Krishna. It's very risky. Because if he happens to look at us at the wrong time, we are dead. That's why when we chant the word Hare Krishna first, Hara refers to Mother Hara. Prabhupada always calls it as the divine energy of the Lord. And when we chant the names of the divine energy first, so she is having the kind heart. And she says, no, it doesn't matter. At least he's chanting Hare Krishna. Please, allow him. And that is And when Radha recommends, when Sita recommends, Ram can't say no. Historically, if you study in the Ramayana, every demon that Ram killed, he killed when Sita was not around. And all the demons that came in front of Sita, Ram couldn't kill them. Whether it is Shurpanaka, whether it is Kakasur, whether it is Marich, so many demons came in front of Sita and Ram didn't kill them. But only when the demons were not in front of Sita, Ram managed to kill them. Because in front of her compassion, Ram's anger and Ram's cruelty and Ram's law, it doesn't work. It's pure love that works. And that's the hope for all of us who are trying to practice spiritual lives. Janak, by keeping the hand of Ram, Sita over the hand of Ram, indicates that the role of a woman is more important than the role of a man in a marriage. For the world, the man may seem more powerful, but his strength comes from the warmth, love and affection and encouragement he receives from his home, from his wife, from his mother, from his sister, and that's what gives the man the real strength. Janak places Sita's hand over Ram's hand, indicating that Sita would always be there to protect him. Janak told Ram that Sita is Ayonija. Ayonija means that she was not born in an ordinary way. Just like he was not born in an ordinary way, she was also not born in an ordinary way. That means she is the right match for you. And then Janak tells Ram, this is your Sita. Now, why does Janak say this is your Sita? And naturally, standing next to him means it's Sita. There are two reasons why Janak says that. The first reason is that till now, Ram had never looked at anybody because he always felt that his beauty is unmatched. But by pointing out to Sita, Janak is telling, your match has been found. This is your Sita. And now Ram does not need to look anywhere else. And the second reason is that from the time Ram had seen Sita, Ram is so captivated by the beauty of Sita that he can see Sita everywhere. So Janak is telling him, this is your Sita, just to make sure he doesn't put the garland on the wrong person. Because he can see Sita everywhere. And then Janak tells Ram that Sita is Dharmacharini Tava. Dharmacharini Tava essentially means that when you follow the path of Dharma, Sita will follow you. But when you deviate from the path of Dharma, Sita will correct you. That's what Janak is indicating. We find in the Ramayana multiple times when Sita felt that Ram is going in the wrong direction, making some mistake, immediately she corrects him. There are 2 or 3 instances in the Ramayana. Sita just openly corrects Ram. Janak tells Ram that Sita is like a shadow. Sita is compared to a shadow because the shadow is connected to the feet of a person. But the interesting part of the shadow is that when the sun is in front of the person, the shadow is behind the person. And when the sun is behind the person, the shadow is in front of the person. Which actually means, this is why Janak tells this quality of Sita. He's comparing Sita to a shadow because he's telling that when the sun of prosperity is in front of Ram, Sita will be like a shadow behind him. She will follow him. But when the sun is setting, which means when Ram is going through a difficult phase in his life, Sita will go ahead of him. And that is what Janak is trying to indicate. Because if you look at the whole episode of the Ramayana, Sita goes ahead of him and paves the way for Ram to come to Lanka. So Janak is trying to indicate that Sita will go ahead of him and make the way for him. Ram, when he hears all this description of Sita's qualities, Ram takes his vow of Ekapatni Vrata. He says that I will be loyal to Sita all my life. I will never ever marry again. So when Ram takes his vow of Ekapatni Vrata, all the women of Ayodhya become very happy. Because the previous king, Dasharath, he had many wives. And therefore the citizens of the Ayodhya would also marry multiple times. And now the new king has only one wife. He's taken this vow of Ekapatni Vrata. Naturally everybody in Ayodhya has to be loyal. So the women of Ayodhya who were unmarried, they became very happy with this. And then finally, Ram puts the garland around Mother Sita's neck. And Ram, he's standing. and Ram doesn't bend down. Sita is much shorter than him. She's wondering how am I going to put, reach up. So Ram purposely does not bend down just to, tease her. Lakshman realizes this odd situation for Sita, and Lakshman comes to the rescue and he, touches Ram's feet. And as soon as Lakshman touches Ram's feet, Ram bends down to lift Lakshman, and Sita puts the garland. And that is how the marriage of Sita and Ram takes place. And when Sita and Ram get married, Vishwamitra Muni becomes extremely happy because this is the culmination of his spiritual journey. As I said yesterday, the 7 laws of progressive living, the 7 different episodes of Vishwamitra Muni, we saw that Vishwamitra Muni is progressing in his spiritual journey by developing one of these beautiful qualities that we saw. And then finally, this is the final quality in the journey of uniting the Supreme Lord with the energy of the Lord. This is the role of a guru. Sita represents living entity and Ram represents God. And Vishwamitra Muni represents the spiritual master, the guru. The role of a guru is to unite the living entity with God and step away. Vishwamitra Muni unites Sita and Ram, and then he walks away from their life. He goes to the Himalayas. After this point in the Ramayana, we don't find Vishwamitra Muni ever coming back into the Ramayana. Vishwamitra Muni has achieved the perfection of his life by bringing Ram and Sita together. And after achieving the perfection of his life, Vishwamitra Muni goes towards the Himalayas, never to return back to the Ramayana. Sita and Ram's marriage. When we study the marriage of Sita and Ram, what is the hope for us? We study heard of so many marriages taking place amongst people we know. We have also seen so many movies and novels of how people come and they live happily ever after and all that. But all the marriages that we hear about, see about, read about, they are marriages that are of this world. The marriages of this world are ridden with selfishness and with expectations. But when we're talking about the marriage of Sita and Ram, that marriage of Sita and Ram brings about the greatest auspiciousness in the life of a living entity. Because that is a marriage of hope with God. All of us, our living entity is aspiring to get connected with God. And when we are aspiring to get connected with God, we need hope that beyond this is a very happy life. Just like there was a girl who was getting married to a boy. And the girl loved the boy for many years. She knew the boy very well. She knew the parents of the boy very well. She knew the house of the boy very well. She knew everything very well. And when the marriage ceremony was taking place, the girl was happy. So the last thing that happens in a marriage ceremony is that while going, the girl cries. When he goes from the parents' house. But this girl was not crying only. The mother was telling her, "Why you are not crying?" She said, "Why should I cry? I know where I am going, So she said, no, at least for the photo shoot you should cry. And just for the photo shoot they put some tears in her eyes, and just so that in the snap it shows that she's crying. But actually she was very happy. So the time of death is considered to be a time which is supposed to be the most saddest time, because all your attachments for your whole life are taken away. So naturally people cry. But for a devotee, the time of death is the time of going to the bridegroom's place, Krishna's abode. And there we know everybody. We know Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mai, we know everybody that is connected to Krishna. So for a person who has no idea where he is going, death is a very scary opportunity, scary time. But for somebody who knows very well the entire family of Krishna, death is like a marriage. It's a transition from one house to another house. And when we know where we are going, why do we need to cry? And that is how a devotee looks at the whole ceremony of Sita and Ram's marriage. It is a time of union of the greatest hope for all of us. So when we study the marriage of Sita and Ram, it brings us great hope and joy, because it brings us great auspiciousness in our own lives also. With this we come to the end of today's seminar. Tomorrow we are going to discuss a very interesting topic which is known as life apps. I have written a book called Open-Eyed Meditations. So this book is a very, very interesting book because it is a collection of about 64 articles that is based on life. It is based on the most practical aspects of life that a devotee will come across. This book I have written basically based on my experiences in the Hare Krishna movement, dealing with people, talking to people, helping people deal with their problems in life. Hundreds and hundreds of people coming and asking me questions. And everything that you need to know about life, I'm seeing it through the lens of Ramayana and Mahabharata. Stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata have solutions to practically every problem of life. This is a book I guarantee it can practically change the way you see life completely. So I definitely recommend every devotee to read this book. So I'm going to do a seminar based on this book tomorrow. It is going to be called as Life Apps. All of us have apps for everything in life. But we only aspire for an app that can help us solve the problems of life. So wish we had an app that, whenever you have a problem in life, you go to that app and see if there is a solution. And that's what Life Apps is about. So tomorrow we will see for 2 hours about, during the Sunday feast time, we will discuss on Life Apps. And tomorrow morning, the Bhagavatam, we are going to speak on the story of Krishna and Kaliya, the Kaliya Leela. I can give you a guarantee, you may have heard the Kaliya Leela hundreds of times in your life. I can give you a guarantee, if you hear tomorrow's Kaliya Leela, you will tell me that you have never heard Kaliya Leela in your life. Just a totally different way of seeing the Kaliya Leela and seeing how it can be applied in our lives also. So please do come for both the sessions tomorrow, and we will meet you there. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.